Welcome to Freedom Watch. I'm Larry Klayman. I'm Chairman and General Counsel. Formerly, I founded Judicial Watch. But I want to talk to you today and give you some realistic assessment of what happened last Tuesday with regard to the elections in Virginia and New Jersey. Obviously, the Republican Party wants to hype it. They want you to think that one victory in Virginia is going to change everything in this country which is on its knees after 10 months of a Biden-Harris regime. I wouldn't even call it a presidency and vice presidency. It's a push to socialism, to communism, to atheism, to every radical ideology. It has seized control of the people, taken total control with vaccine mandates, excuses with regard to COVID-19, the use of the Justice Department and FBI, my once proud alma mater, as a Gestapo to quell all dissent, destroying the economy by dumping trillions of dollars into that economy so people don't even want to work. In other words, moving from socialism to communism where people just sit around doing nothing with freebies. You've got a destruction of the Judeo-Christian ethic, homosexuality, transgenderism, transsexualism being pushed on kids in schools. These people deserve to live their life and do as they please, but not to have it pushed on children. And last but not least, destruction of the military. We've seen what happened in Afghanistan and everything else that flowed from it. The so-called victory yesterday in Virginia was to Terry McAuliffe, someone that I have fought for many, many years. He's a criminal. He's sleazy. He's somebody who laundered money for the Clintons, who committed a number of illegal acts. The fact that they beat Terry McAuliffe, of all people, is hardly a tremendous achievement. That being said, we do see that the people of this country, they do resist what's going on. And we need to unite them. We need to unite them in a way that is not dependent on any one political party. The Republicans, several times in the past, in my lifetime and in yours, have had control of all three branches of government. And save for Ronald Reagan, his presidency, they've done little to nothing. But they're great at raising money. They're great at acquiring power. They couldn't even reform Obamacare in any major way. They couldn't balance the budget when they had control of all three branches of government. And just most recently, they knew what was going to happen in Afghanistan. The leaders of the Republican Party got national security briefings. They wanted it to happen. They wanted it to happen because they thought this would get them control of the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the presidency again. And as I've said many times, the Republicans couldn't win dog catcher. The elections have been cooked. And look at what happened in New Jersey. After this Italian-American, I mispronounced his name. I apologize for that. I do speak Italian, but I don't remember exactly what his name is because he came out of nowhere. After he was leading, all of a sudden, he loses. Now, New Jersey is a mafia state, and it's very corrupt. And I suspect that they did the same thing in New Jersey that they did in the presidential election. They dumped a bunch of ballots in at the end, and they lost. We don't have an electoral system that will work nationwide. You can forget ever seeing another conservative person of faith, even a libertarian, elected as president of the United States. With all of the tyranny that we have, with federal judges who are bought and paid for by special interest groups, which our great founding father, as I write about in my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry, said would become despots and tyrants, causing us to shed the blood of patriots and tyrants yet again about every 20 years. Jefferson didn't want to see that, but he was prophesizing what would happen. Because our government, all three branches, is corrupt to the core. It has broken down to the extreme. And one small victory in Virginia is not going to change that fact. We need to declare independence again. When in the course of human events, the sovereign, the rulers, no longer represent the people, under the laws of nature and nature's God, the people have a right to alter or abolish that government and to form a new government with equal rights for everyone in pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. I'm paraphrasing our Declaration of Independence. We need to do so again. It's not one political party or the next. Sure, the Democrats are pure evil. They've been inhabited by the devil. The Republicans have become a money-making, racketeering enterprise, raising huge amounts of money, acquiring power, but then when they get power, as we've seen in the past, doing little to nothing. Ask yourself this question. Why is it that Freedom Watch had to bring class action lawsuits against the Bushers of Beijing and Communist China over COVID-19? Senators like Tom Cotton or Lindsey Graham or others could have brought those cases themselves. They have standing. They could bring it. They have standing as representatives of this country. They don't want to. They just want to go on Fox News and raise money and acquire more power. It is time for the people to rise up. So don't be fooled about the crowing that's going on right now. This is all related to boosting ratings on Fox News and elsewhere, Newsmax, those kinds of places. The reality is the American people need to do it for themselves, and we need a new government, and we can form a new government. We will be peaceful. We will not move on the government. If they move on us, we have our Second Amendment rights of self-defense. We can commission militias. We will have the military support us. They've had it. The latest outrage, even after Afghanistan, is that thousands of military men and women are being forced out of the military because they will not take the vaccine, a vaccine which has not been proven to be safe and which, in fact, to the contrary, is proven to be worthless. People getting the vaccine still get COVID-19 and the Delta variant. So why keep pumping that into your system when you don't know the medium and long-term effects, much less the short-term effects? So this is where we are. Get my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry, Citizens' Grand Juries to bring about justice for those elite people that think they can walk off scot-free. People like Terry McAuliffe is just one example. We've already indicted Robert Mueller. We've indicted Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and James Biden for massive bribery from China, Ukraine, and Russia. Want to know why Biden does nothing with regard to Russia? And China? He's bought and paid for. He's already owned by them. And many of the politicians in Washington are the same way, even on the Republican side. Mitch McConnell's bought and paid for by China, too, through his wife's family, Elaine Chao, that owns major interests in China. And money's been laundered to him as well. Even John Wong, who I uncovered during the Clinton years, had given money through his company, the Lippo Bank, to Mitch McConnell. To be blunt, these are all compromised people. There are very few people with principles. We, the American people, have principles. We need to rise up. We need a new government. We need to take it out of Philadelphia and start anew with new leaders, with judges who are elected, removing immunity from government officials and those judges, so they're held accountable to the rule of law along with us. So go to freedomwatchusa.org, join our cause, and I'm going to be forming a new political party and a separate organization called the New American Political Party. That's already in progress. We need more political parties. We don't need two. That's an oligopoly. It's anti-competitive. I'm an old antitrust lawyer that broke up AT&T. Take it from me. We need to move on. So don't be fooled by the Republican hype or the hype that you'll see on Fox News and Newsmax. Now is the time for the American people to rise up. The Father and the Son will help us if we help ourselves. But we'll go the way of ancient civilizations if we sit there and do nothing. Now is the time, if you're a senior, to get out of retirement for the sake of your children and grandchildren and actually do something rather than just watch Sean Hannity on Fox News. Now is the time, if you're young, to be an activist. If you're a middle-aged person, the same. Because if you don't, we will not have a country. It's already 90% gone. It's as if we're sitting on the Titanic listening to chamber music as the ship of state has hit rock bottom. One victory in Virginia is not going to change the equation. There's too much wrong in our system, too much wrong that needs to be fixed in the vision of our founding fathers, and we need to return to that. So God bless you. God bless America. Stay safe. I'll be back with another YouTube shortly. But take it to heart. The Republican Party is not your answer. In the words of Hillary Clinton, what difference does it make? The irony of it. It meant something in this context. Obviously, it didn't with regard to Benghazi.